All right, we're recording. Cool. Hey, what's up, guys? Jordan Anderson here. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of follow-up material about this one-page proposal template. It's gone out to quite a few people, and thank you guys for downloading it and checking it out. Yeah, let's just go through it kind of like one by one, maybe kind of the mindset, mentality behind this, and then like, you know, what's the best practice, best approach when you're handing this over to a client. Okay. So why a one-page proposal? So this idea was kind of, I found this idea through Blair Enns' Win Without Pitching. It's a short little book, and the book just talks about, you know, basically like, I won't say at its core, but like we're not in, you know, as a creative firm, as a video production company, as a photographer, a designer, you're not in the proposal writing business. You know, you're not spending a third or 50% of your work time writing proposals, responding to RFPs, sending it out to clients. You're in the whatever business you are in. So I'm a filmmaker, so I'm in the filmmaking business. I don't need to spend half my time, half my day writing proposals, 30-page proposals about who you are, why we're important. Talking about the team members that are going to be on the project, talking about what qualifies us, including case studies, including, you know, budgets, and even throwing out free ideas to them, giving like, you know, here are top 3 ideas that we could go with. Let us know in the proposal, you know, let us know what you think. All that stuff kind of wastes time. So the idea is like, we're not in the proposal writing business, we're in the filmmaking business, we're in the creative business. So what this proposal kind of does is it takes away all that crap and just kind of narrows it down to like, let's give the client 3 options, at least 3. Let's give the client some options so they can kind of look at this and say, you know, there's the price, there's the options, there's what's included in each option, and it kind of like just simplifies everything, especially for clients that you're not sure if they do want to go with your services, and to spend 6 hours a day, spend, you know, half your work week writing a proposal for them just to say no, or to not really understand what it is they're getting. Like, that can be kind of a huge waste of time. So this proposal, what it does is it just kind of, you know, I'm riffing here, but it just really simplifies things. So let's kind of go over it. Here are some things that you need to have before any of this happens, before you make any of this proposal. Is obviously you need to have a sales conversation with your clients. You need to figure out what the problem is, and then you need to start figuring out why now, what's the timeline, what's the time frame, and of course, what budget do they have? Do they have any kind of budget? Do they have a budget range? Have they even thought about how much something like this could cost? Have you kind of prompted them in the conversation about, this is the amount of value that we can give you. This is, if we were to pull this off, what does a successful project looks like? And then also in the conversation, you need to understand what are the metrics that you and the client are going to be measuring in order to both agree that this was a successful project or this wasn't a successful project. So all that kind of conversation, that can all happen in one conversation. Those can happen in 3, 4, 5 conversations. But you need to know all the factors of that before you even start to think of a solution, before you start to think of the services you can offer, and before you can even think about the prices you're going to lay out. Okay. So once you have all that figured out, let's kind of talk about maybe just the layout of this. So as you're looking at this is obviously like, you know, you've kind of seen this on every SaaS, you know, Salesforce, any kind of like software, Slack, you know, imagine any kind of Silicon Valley model of, you know, you go to the pricing page on their software and it looks just like this. It's options 1, 2, and 3, bronze, silver, gold, the, you know, ABC 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to call it. It's 3 options, and it's good to give your clients options. You know, just to say we're going to give you one thing. This is the one thing that you need to do. I won't say everyone likes that. You know, as a client, you want, you know, I think we all like options. So to give the client the feeling like they have choice, or to give the client that, you know, they need to make the decision on what they're comfortable with. You are not there to push something. You're not there to sell something. You're not there to convince them. You are just there to kind of lay out the options. Here's some things that we can do, and let's kind of go over that. So you're laying out these options 1, 2, and 3. Let's just do 1, 2. I've done 4 options before, but for this example, let's just do 3 options. So in option 1, that's going to be kind of in the client's budget, and this is going to be the left side column. And I put client's budget here. If you're making this proposal, don't leave this stuff in here. So make it. Let's do it. So it's kind of like option number 1. So option number 1 is going to be like the lowest light version, the bronze version, version A, option 1, whatever you want to call it again. This is going to do a good enough job for the client, and it's just going to be, it's meant to look visually on the page. It's meant to look kind of like a little stark, a little like, well, this is, this is a good way to kind of solve the problem that we have, as a company, but this is the safe option, is kind of what you're framing it as. Like, this is the, how much risk do you and the client want to take? If the client wants to take a lot of risk, then they're not going to spend a lot of money. If the client wants to take no risk at all, then they're going to spend a lot of money with you, because the more money you get, the more money they give you, the more you can guarantee a result. So if they don't want to give you any money, then the chances that you're going to guarantee that result just goes down. So option 1 is the kind of, they're more kind of, we're kind of leaving it up to the client to kind of hope that you're going to be successful in this. So it's meant to look scant. It's, kind of, don't put a lot of options here, just kind of list 1 or 2 things. And then we go down to the next part, where are the terms. For something like this, when it's so small, I kind of say just 100% up front. Some people want to do payment plans, or you can remove this column or this row entirely. Don't take out leave the terms conversation for the contract phase. Just kind of give them the options and then go straight to the price. Now the price here is 7.5K. So let's say like the client is, in your conversation, you've talked about what you're comfortable with. You've thrown out the number. The client has heard you say 7.5K, $7,500. The client has somewhere heard that in the conversation, and you've even asked them, like, I'm going to go and make a proposal for about $7,500 in this range here. How does that sound? That sounds good. Okay, cool. Let's put it. So let's say, just for example, it's $7,500. I like to keep it, and a lot of people, you kind of want to think like, oh, maybe I'll do like 74, 40, 50, or like 7499 instead of giving some big fat 7,500 number. When you give them a big round number like that, it's hard for them to kind of figure out where the sales or where the services end and begin, and like they kind of have trouble. You don't want your client to go look at this proposal and kind of do the calculation of like, oh, this is their hourly rate, this is how they kind of calculated this number. Just give them it's kind of counterintuitive. Like if you gave them, oh, let's maybe make it a random number, and like kind of, oh, perfect. That looks, if you put a number like this, 7421, that looks like you put it in a formula, you put it through a spreadsheet and said this is the number, and it looks very formulaic. If it's formulaic, that means it can be haggled down. If it's just a random big round number like this, it's hard to kind of negotiate that number down from a client's perspective. The next column is your target, so we'll call this option 2. Okay. We don't have to make this complicated. We're not spending a lot of time on this. We're really just putting the services in front of them, and that's it. So we'll call it option 2. We don't have to call it some kind of cool name, just option 2. This is visually, again, we're kind of like expanding a little bit. So when they're kind of price shopping, comparing between option 2 and 1, they're going to see what they're missing out on, and you kind of want to give them that little pain where they're like, well, option 1 is a safe option, but look at all the cool extra stuff I could get in option 2, and I'm kind of missing out on that. And again, for me, I kind of lighten up, I kind of loosen up the terms since the number is growing. Option 2 is, we'll talk about this a little more, but the option 2 is kind of what you want them to go with. That's kind of like your target number, and we'll talk about anchoring here in a second. But yeah, it's getting a little bigger. So again, a round number. I do 15K. This even, we're all looking kind of like visually what looks better. I think 15,000 with all the zeros like that. I think that looks a little cleaner and looks a little more, a little more professional. Then finally, option 3. Now, option 3 is not meant to be chosen all the time. Option 3 is not going to get chosen. I'd say less than 20% of the time, your client's going to go with option 3. And option 3 is not really there to get chosen. Option 3 is there to kind of throw the price number, just kind of out of nowhere. It's kind of just really raising the bar. Because think about it like this: if I took these numbers here and I said, okay, my services are going to be $15,000. Okay, you have nothing to compare that to. You don't know if you're normally charging $1,000 or if you're charging $1.5 million. We all like to compare. We all this thing is like this thing. So if you don't know what you're comparing these numbers to, it's kind of hard to track. So what your anchor is going to do is it's going to say, okay, well, I get all these features in option 3. That's a lot of stuff. If we really want to go for it, hit a home run with this, we get a full set of services, and it's a big number. So, okay, well, maybe that's a little too much. Maybe we don't need to go the professional suite, the professional version. Maybe we just go to option 2, and option 2 looks a little more appealing because they're able to compare. Like, wow, I'm getting a pretty good deal. $38,000 is a huge number compared to $15,000. And I'm only, and again, you're kind of like going from, same as we went from option 2 to 1, option 3 to 2 is kind of still adding that pain. Like, they're going to kind of get a little FOMO. They're going to get, maybe not FOMO is the right word, but like they're going to kind of see what they're missing out. And that's what you want to kind of give them. So, so a great book to read is Thinking Fast and Slow. I won't get it, but it's a great book. It talks about kind of the heuristics that our brain goes through. In one chapter they talk about is anchoring. So anchoring is just, we anchor to the first piece of information we see. So the big number that we see, $38,000, even if I told you that it was an anchor and that this number is just here to really throw the conversation in a high direction, like, even if you know that, it still affects you. Like, you just can't fight it. There's no fighting it. So this is, when we're laying it out, this is how you kind of do it. But when you're presenting this, now here's what's kind of different. This is something you don't just print out as a PDF or download and then attach in an email and say, here you go, client, see you later, give me a call when you want to, if this sounds good. You need to get on the phone with the client and walk them through this, because one, you may be putting services on here that they have no idea what the hell you're talking about. They don't even know what this means, or they don't even know, like you don't want to leave them hanging. Like, to not only look at it and be like, these numbers are outrageous, but then to be like, I don't even know what this is. Like, what am I getting with this? So you want to be real time with them. So I would say, like, set up a call with them within 24 hours of like your last sales call. Set up a call with them and say, I'm going to send you a proposal and I'm going to send it to you within 24 to 48 hours. Can we set up another call for that time? Set it up. And then send this to them, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I've sent this to them in real time on the phone over email, and that gets a little weird because, they may not be by their phone, or they didn't know they had to be by the computer, or they can't download it, so you're just kind of waiting on the phone awkwardly trying to, okay, well, if you can't see the proposal, give me a call back. So send this to them, 30 minutes before the call. Text them, tell them something that, hey, check your email, be by a computer, be by somewhere that you can read this proposal, and let's go over it over the phone. And then you're going to start on the right side, because it just makes sense. And it makes sense from talking about the services, because the services in option 3 are going to be the same in option 2 and 1. It's just going to be minus this, minus this. So, the services in option 3 is going to be everything. So, but what you're also doing is you're anchoring that large number. So you say option 3 is going to be $38,000 for, services A, B, and C. Okay, let's go to option 2, and this is just going to be services A and B, and this is $15,000. And then we go to option 1, and it's just service A for $7,500. In that time, you could, and don't try to like convince them. Again, don't look weak. Say the price. Just pause. Say the price. Pause. Move on. Once you're done, say, do you have any questions? Anything? Just kind of don't start to gravel or panic if you hear any pause or if you hear them thinking over the phone. Don't try to like fill that silence. Just be cool. Just let them kind of assess the numbers. Sometimes over the phone they just want to say, hey, let me get back to you. I got to talk to my wife. I got to talk to my accountant. I got to talk to my project leader about this. That's fine. You know, be cool. Be cool about it. Sometimes on the phone they want to do it, and sometimes they'll call you back and say, hey, we want to go with option 2, or we want to go with option 3, and you go, great. And then you start the contract, and then you start the onboarding process. That's it. It's a one-page proposal. This is all from the book Win Without Pitching's author, Blair Enns. The book is digital only. You can't buy it on Amazon. It's called Pricing Creativity. And I put a little link here, so just check that book out. Super helpful stuff. What else? I think that's it. Yeah, that's just kind of a simple way to really just try to, you know, stop wasting time writing too many proposals for clients that aren't going to go with you in the first place. Just kind of, you know, this simplifies everything. I hope this helps. What you could do is you could add another page to this if you wanted to and do a little bio about your, no, sorry, not a bio about yourself. On the second page, what I've done in the past is write out the problem that you're trying to solve and write out how you're going to solve it, or the ultimate goal, or even include the metrics that you're going to do. Don't write a bio about yourself. Don't write, you know, don't show a picture of the office dog. Don't show, you know, your previous work and links to all your videos and photos and website. Don't do any of that. They already know you. They already know about you. They've done their shopping. This is really just kind of a quick way for them to assess the services, see if it's worth it, and then go with you or not go with you. Yeah, that's it. I think we're done. I think that's it, yeah. I'm realizing my little website was blocked the whole time. My name's Jordan P. Anderson. Go to jordanpanderson.com if you have any questions. I have a daily email at tinyletter.com/Jordan P. Anderson. We're sending out stuff like this all the time. And that's it. Yeah. Thanks for watching.